Hey everybody, Mike here with Delta Faucet. Today, I'm gonna walk you through how to install the Delta SelectChoice Universal Rough. The Rough broadens your shower's capabilities thanks to its flexible configuration when paired with the Delta push-button shower trim. It's also important to note that this Rough is specifically designed for the Delta push-button shower trim and is not a Delta multi-choice universal valve. It's designed for a streamlined installation and can accommodate a range of wall depths and materials, which makes it a solid option for whether you're working on a new build or updating an existing shower in your bathroom remodel. This Rough is built to work with the SelectChoice Trim series, which gives you push-button control over each of your outlets and a separate handle for temperature. Now we'll cover the trim installation in a separate video, so just be aware of that. As with any plumbing project, it's always a good idea to turn off the water supply to the area that you're working in, so go ahead and do that now before we begin. Now, if you're unsure about any part of this process, or if it's outside your level of expertise, we definitely recommend contacting a licensed professional for some additional help. Now, I'm going to take you through the process step by step so you can get this installed correctly and set up for a smooth finish. Here's a list of the tools and supplies you'll need to complete this project. You'll need a measuring tape, a level, a flathead screwdriver, a hacksaw, a file, some lineman pliers or some snips, a 2mm, 3mm, 4mm, and 5mm hex key, some needle nose pliers, some silicone sealant, an open-ended wrench, and an adjustable wrench, some plumber's tape, an instant read thermometer, some 3/4 inch fittings for both of your supply and your outlet connections, some pan head or truss head screws, maybe a utility knife, some blocking material, an oscillating tool, some scissors, and maybe a towel for some light water cleanup, and of course, some safety gloves and safety glasses. All right, let's grab those tools and supplies and let's get started. Here we are in the rough opening of where we're going to be installing the shower. Now, the first thing I like to do in any new shower install is taking a moment just to kind of visualize how everything's going to come together to make sure there's no framing adjustments necessary, because now's the time to do those. Now, I do want to take a quick moment to run through the valve itself to point out a couple key features to keep an eye on. First is that the valve does have an orientation that we want to maintain. It has a top and a bottom. So if you look at the back of the valve, you'll see it has the word top with an arrow pointing up. We obviously want to make sure that the valve is always in the correct orientation and facing up. Secondly, it has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. It's got an input on the left for your hot, an input on the right for your cold, and then 2 outlets, one from the top in my application, which is going to feed my shower head, and then one on the bottom that, again, for my application is going to be feeding a hand shower off to the right-hand side here. Now, these inputs and outputs are 3/4 of an inch in diameter, so just keep that in mind because the 3/4 of an inch allow for some increased water flow if your application requires it. However, depending on what you're choosing for your supply lines and also for your components, you may need to reduce these down to 1/2 inch in size. Now, when we're installing the rough valve, there's 3 important things I always want to make sure I'm keeping an eye on when securing this into place. The first is I want to make sure it's in the right orientation with the top facing up. I also want to make sure that I'm mounting it perfectly level and plumb. And also, maybe most importantly, I want to make sure it's being mounted at the correct depth in my opening. Now, the important measurement here is making sure that the back of the valve is mounted 3.5 inches behind my finished wall surface. So back to our visualization, you kind of have to think through exactly how the rest of your enclosure is going to come together. In our application here, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch of cement board and then roughly another 1/2 inch of tile and thin set to give me a finished wall thickness that's going to be 1 inch beyond my rough framing here. So some quick math tells me that I need to be mounting the back of the rough valve 2.5 inches behind the surface of my rough framing. Your dimensions may vary at home. Just kind of think through the materials you're going to be adding to the outside of your framing, and then I'll help you determine where the back of the valve needs to be mounted. Now, to mount the valve, I'm going to be adding some additional blocking material that's going to sit between my 2 vertical members here and give me a solid surface to mount the valve to. Okay, with all that said, we can move on to the next step of adding that blocking, giving ourselves a nice solid surface to mount our rough valve to. Let's go ahead and do that now. Now, the first step in adding the blocking for the rough valve is determining the height at which the rough valve itself is going to be installed at. Now, there's really no rule around this. It's what's most convenient for you, something that's going to allow for some convenient operation for everybody who's going to use the shower, but also think through your finished wall surface. Say if you have a certain tile design and there's a specific spot that you want to make sure that rough valve is hitting, now would be the time to determine that height to make sure you're happy with how everything comes together once you finish off your enclosure. So for my application here, my height's going to be 48 inches off of my subfloor. So I'm going to take my tape measure, I'm gonna make a quick little reference line on each side of my opening here, right at 48 inches. All right, now that gives me the approximate height of my rough valve. We can dial that in once we install it to the blocking back behind there. Now the second important dimension here is gonna make sure that we have the correct depth of blocking to maintain that 3.5 inches to the back of the valve that we discussed earlier. So for me, if you remember, I'm gonna have 1 inch of finished wall material on the face of my framing, which means I need to install the face of my blocking 2.5 inches back from the face of my framing material. So I'm gonna come to my one side here, a little bit above my reference line, and I'm gonna make a line at 2.5 inches back from the face of my framing here. And I'm gonna do one at the top and then one just a little bit lower here. And then maintain the same things on the other side, repeat the same steps on the other side. And then a little bit lower. All right, now that we have those reference lines made, I can go ahead and add the blocking, and I know exactly where I want the face of the blocking to sit to make sure I maintain that 3.5 inches behind my finished wall surface. Now, since I'm installing this in a 2x6 wall, I'm gonna use a piece of 2x6 blocking material that I have laying around, which will give me a good solid surface to mount that valve to. However, you may notice if you're installing this on a 2x4 wall, and depending on the thickness of your finished wall surface here, things may get just a little bit tighter and you may not have the space to use a piece of 2x material to form that solid base back behind there, which is totally fine. We just wanna make sure that whatever material you do choose to mount your valve to is gonna be strong and secure to hold that valve right in the spot that we need as we finish off the rest of our enclosure. So keep that in mind. Okay, with everything laid out and everything ready to go, let's take a moment to go ahead and cut a piece of blocking here, and we're gonna secure it into place, and then we'll come back here and move on to mounting our valve. At this point, with our blocking in place, I think it's a great idea to take a moment just to confirm that everything's looking good, because it will make the rest of the install go that much easier. So the first thing I'm checking is to make sure that the block is at the right height, which it is. Next, I want to check that depth to make sure I'm going to get that 3.5 inches behind my finished wall surface. So for me in my application, that's going to be 2.5 inches behind my framing, which everything's looking good. Okay, our depth looks good here. Now, I do want to mention one extra thing about the depth here, is we understand that as the rest of your enclosure comes together and you get to that actual finished wall depth, there could be some variation to be expected beyond what you're anticipating when doing your blocking measurements, which is totally fine. We understand that, and the valve actually allows for about 1/2 inch of play, either greater or less than that 3.5 inch mark that we're trying to hit. I still think it's a great idea to get as close as possible because it allows for the most variation as you finish off the rest of your enclosure, but just keep that in mind. All right. We're making sure we've got the right depth and the right height now. Last thing we want to check is to make sure that our blocking is level, which looks great. And then also, most importantly, that it's sitting plumb. So I'm just going to make sure my little level here, checking to make sure that my blocking is plumb, which it is. All right, our blocking is looking great. So now I can move on to the next step of getting ready to secure our rough valve to our blocking. Now, before we secure our rough valve to the blocking we just put in, the first thing you'll notice I've done is gone ahead and made a couple reference lines here, one plumb line, one vertical level line, and then the center line of exactly where I want this valve body to be installed, which will help me kind of keep everything oriented as I secure this into place. The next thing you'll notice is I can go ahead and attach this body to the blocking at this point, but I do think it's easier to go ahead and kind of prefab up this system a little bit. You'll see I added little tails for both my hot and my cold sides. Since once you attach this to the blocking, it can be a little bit difficult to make some of those connections since we have a tighter space when the valve body is on the blocking itself. So I think it's a good idea to go ahead and think through that and maybe prefab up your system a little bit to make things that much easier. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you are making any of these connections that require a sweat solder, just make sure you're keeping the torch at least 4 inches away from the valve body itself, since the heat could cause some damage to the rough valve, and we definitely don't want to damage that. So once you get your system all prefabbed and you're ready to attach it to the blocking here, what we're going to do is make sure I've got it in the location that I want. And the important things here is making sure that it's not only in the center line that I want, it's the height I want, it's also plumb and also level. And once everything looks good, I'm gonna be using screws in each one of the 4 corner locations on the valve body, going through those larger holes to hold it into place. And one note about the screws is I wanna make sure the screws are either pan head or truss head screws. A flathead screw has the potential to cause just a little bit of damage when we snug everything up, so keep that in mind as well. All right, once everything looks good, let's take a moment to go ahead and secure our rough valve body to the blocking behind. All right, now that we have the rough valve secured into place, we want to do one final check to confirm that it's both level and plumb. So, to check for level, I'm gonna make sure I'm contacting the little teeth here on the outside of that plastic ring, and then just double checking my level to make sure it's within the lines. And then also for plumb, I wanna make sure I'm using my level flat against the front here, and again, checking to make sure it's sitting plumb, which it is. All right, great. So everything's looking perfect at this point. So we're gonna spend a few minutes making the rest of our plumbing connections, connecting both our hot supply and also our cold supplies, and also connecting the outlets to the rest of our showering components. So go ahead and do that, and then come back here and we'll be ready to move on to the next step. All right, we have all our plumbing connections made, so now we can move on to what's known as flushing our lines. You can see we've connected our hot and our cold supply lines to our valve body here, and also our 2 plumbing components, one for the shower head that's coming out the top, and another one to that hand shower that's coming out the bottom of the valve. Now, what flushing the lines means is basically running water through our system here to make sure we've cleaned out any debris that may have gotten in there during installation, because that could cause an issue down the road. So basically what we're gonna do to start this process is remove this dust cover on the inside first, and then carefully set it off to the side. And next I want to take a moment to talk about what's going on inside the valve. Now the first thing I'll point out is you'll notice this big plastic piece here is known as a flushing block. What this is going to do is allow us to flush these lines and help direct the water exactly where we want it. So on this one side, the water's going to travel through our hot supply line, back through this flushing block here, and then travel down out the bottom outlet here on our valve. Conversely, the cold side is going to flow through our cold supply line, through the block, and then out through the top outlet, so just be aware of that. Now you'll also notice that on each side is a little valve, these little water stops here, and the water stop has a notch on it. So if the notch on the valve is facing straight up and down, basically perpendicular to our supply line, that means the flow of water is stopped and the valve is in the off position. However, if we gave it a quarter turn and we move that notch to be parallel with our supply line, that would allow the water to flow, again, for the cold side, into the valve and then up through the outlet, and then on the hot side, into the valve and down through the bottom outlet. So just be aware of that. Now when we do this, we're gonna run the water through the valve for say about like 10 to 15, 20 seconds or so to allow enough water to run through the system to clear any debris that may have been caught in there. Now obviously we need a place for that water to go. So what I've done here is, since I'm gonna start with my hot side, again, flow of water going through the hot supply and then down through the bottom outlet, that's gonna travel and come out where my hand shower location is. You can see here, I've used a little bit of extra tubing here and a connection. So now that water will have a place to go, basically coming through my tube, and then I'm gonna direct this into a bucket or a drain if I have one readily available. I'm gonna let that run for about 15 seconds and then shut it off and repeat the same steps for the other side. Now the way we're gonna do this is basically make sure our water stops are in the off position and then energize our system, making sure we have hot and cold water supplied to our valve. Once that's done, I'm gonna use a 4mm hex key here. I'm gonna place it right in the middle of that water stop and again, give it a quarter turn to move that vertical line into a horizontal position, and that will start the flow of water. Once I'm done flushing the line, turn it off. I'm gonna move my little extra piece of tubing over here and do the same thing for the other side. So with all that said, let's go ahead and take a moment to flush our lines. Our lines are all flushed, my water stops are in the off position, and I've reinstalled the test caps on my outlets. So now we're ready to move on. The next step is gonna be reinstalling our dust cover that we removed previously. Again, pressure fitting it back to the inside of the valve, which will help protect everything while we move through the rest of construction. This goes in just the way same way we took it off, just as a pressure fit, all the way to the inside, like so. Now the next thing I want to point out before moving on is what's known as a fitting ring. That's that octagon black ring here that sits around the valve body about halfway back. And the purpose of the fitting ring is to provide a little bit of additional support to the back side of the wallboard. So there's a couple different locations that you can install this ring at. Right here, it's installed at the deeper location, which worked well for my wall thickness, which is approximately about 1 inch. However, if you had a thinner wall thickness, you can adjust this ring forward on the valve body a little bit to offer that support behind the wallboard. Now, the important thing to remember is in no instance do we want this fitting ring to sit beyond the plane of a rough framing here, because that would cause kind of a bump in our wallboard, which would raise problems when it comes to finishing off with tile or whatever surface you're using within your shower enclosure. So if you need to adjust this fitting ring, what you can do is press down the 2 tabs, 1 on each side, and then give it a little bit of a quarter turn to release it, and then pull it all the way off the valve body like so. And here's a great chance to kind of see those 2 settings, kind of the deeper setting closer to the back of the valve, and then the shallower setting towards the front. Now for me, with my wall thickness being about 1 inch off my rough framing, I'm gonna go ahead and install this back to the deeper channel. So to reinstall it, I'm gonna hold it at an angle with those 2 tabs, pushing it all the way back to the valve body, so I'm fitting it in that rear channel, and then turning it a quarter turn clockwise, and you'll kind of hear it snap into place. Perfect. Now, just as like when I talked about if you had a thin wall thickness, you may have an instance where you have a thicker wall thickness, thicker than 1 inch. And if you look at the way this valve is lined up, you actually have this fitting ring sitting proud of your rough framing, even when it's at its deepest setting. Now in that instance, we want to go ahead and remove the ring completely to again make sure that we're not creating a hump in our wallboard in our final enclosure. All right, with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next steps of finishing off our enclosure. Now, before you go ahead and put all the tile on, we want to come back here after you have your wallboard on. There's going to be one more bit of sealant that I want to point out before we move on with finishing it off with your final material of your shower. So go ahead and install that wallboard and then come back here. With our backer board in place, the last thing I want to point out before we go ahead and finish off the rest of our enclosure is adding a bead of sealant to close up the gap between our backer board hole that we cut for our rough valve and the plaster guard around the rough valve itself. So I'm going to be using a sealant that's appropriate for whatever backer material I'm using, and then close that gap all the way around to make sure I have a watertight seal between the board and the valve. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, that wraps up the install for the Delta SelectChoice Rough. Now, if you're moving on to install the Delta Push Button Shower Trim, be sure to check out the separate install video we have for that. And remember, if you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to the Delta Faucet customer service team. They're more than happy to help.